Hello, I'm Jeff. My wife and I host Message of Hope. Message of Hope wants to be your weekly inspirational, motivational, and non judgmental friend to help you through your week as we share Bible truths and life experiences to let you know you're not alone. Let's join Sandra to see what message of hope she has today.
Hello, I'm Sandra, your host, and today we're going to continue in the book of Job. We'll be reading Job chapters 14 through 17, where Job is continuing his response to his friends. I believe Zophar had spoken last, and Job is replying. He seems to be reflecting, and it almost sounds like a prayer. But he's speaking of life's woes, and we'll just start in verse 1 and take it from there. Bear with me. Job seems kind of deep, but it's kind of beautiful when you stop and ponder each portion and what it's saying and how it can relate to us today. So let's get started. Chapter 14, verse 1. Man who is born of a woman is few of days and full of trouble. He comes out like a flower and withers. He flees like a shadow and continues not. And do you open your eyes on such a one and bring me into judgment with you? Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? There is not one. Since his days are determined and the number of his months is with you, and you have appointed his limits that he cannot pass. Look away from him and leave him alone, that he may enjoy like a hired hand his day. For there is hope for a tree, if it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that its shoots will not cease. Though its root grow old in the earth and its stump die in the soil, yet at the scent of water it will bud and put out branches like a young plant. But a man dies and is laid low. Man breathes his last, and where is he? As waters fail from a lake, and a river wastes away and dries up, so a man lies down and rises not again. Until the heavens are no more, he will not awake or be roused out of his sleep. Oh, that you would hide me in Sheol, that you would conceal me until your wrath be past, that you would appoint me a set time and remember me. And remember, Sheol is a place where souls go after death. Picking back up in verse 14. If a man dies, shall he live again? All the days of my service I would wait till my renewal should come. You would call and I would answer you. You would long for the work of your hands. For then you would number my steps. You would not keep watch over my sin. My transgression would be sealed up in a bag, and you would cover over my iniquity. But the mountain falls and crumbles away, and the rock is removed from its place, and the waters wear away the stones. The torrents wash away the soil of the earth, so you destroy the hope of man. You prevail forever against him, and he passes. You change his countenance and send him away. His sons come to honor, and he does not know it. They are brought low, and he perceives it not. He feels only the pain of his own body, and he mourns only for himself. Now, verse 14 there really stuck out to me. If a man dies, shall he live again? And I just wanted to let you all know that I have done a previous podcast, episode 43, titled, Will I Go to Heaven When I Die? And I think a lot of people struggle with that question. So you may want to go after this and listen to episode 43. Will I go to heaven when I die? Picking back up in chapter 15. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, Should a wise man answer with windy knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he argue in unprofitable talk, or in words with which he can do no good? But you are doing away with the fear of God and hindering meditation before God. For your iniquity teaches your mouth, and you choose the tongue of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, not I. Your own lips testify against you. Are you the first man who was born? Or were you brought forth before the hills? Have you listened to the counsel of God? And do you limit wisdom to yourself? What do you know that we do not know? What do you understand that is not clear to us? Both the gray haired and the aged are among us, older than your father. Are the comforts of God too small for you, or the word that deals gently with you? Why does your heart carry you away? And why do your eyes flash, that you turn your spirit against God and bring such words out of your mouth? What is man that he can be pure, or he who is born of a woman that he can be righteous? Behold, God puts no trust in his holy ones, and the heavens are not pure in his sight. How much less the one who is abominable and corrupt, a man who drinks injustice like water? I will show you, hear me, and what I have seen I will declare. What wise men I have told without hiding it from their fathers, to whom alone the land was given, and no stranger passed among them. The wicked man writhes in pain all his days, through all the years that are laid up for the ruthless. Dreadful sounds are in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer will come upon him. He does not believe that he will return out of darkness, and he is marked for the sword. He wanders abroad for bread, saying, where is it? He knows that a day of darkness is ready at his hand. Distress and anguish terrify him. They prevail against him like a king ready for battle, because he has stretched out his hand against God and defies the Almighty, running stubbornly against him with a thickly bossed shield. Because he has covered his face with his fat and gathered fat upon his waist, and has lived in desolate cities, in houses that none should inhabit, which were ready to become heaps of ruins. He will not be rich, and his wealth will not endure, nor will his possessions spread over the earth. He will not depart from darkness. The flame will dry up his shoots, and by the breath of his mouth he will depart. Let him not trust in emptiness, deceiving himself, for emptiness will be his payment. It will be paid in full before his time, and his branch will not be green. He will shake off his unripe grape like the vine, and cast off his bosom like the olive tree. For the company of the godless is barren, and fire consumes the tents of bribery. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil, and their womb prepares deceit. Some of the things I picked up there from chapter 15, Eliphaz is saying that Job shouldn't rely on false claims of righteousness or rely on worldly possessions. To me, he's saying you feel you're innocent and that you deserve blessings, but your claims are worthless. And Eliphaz is using a metaphor in verse 32 of a withering tree to describe how those who are wicked will die before their natural time without children and not leaving any legacy behind. In verse 33, he says the wicked's potential for good is gone, destroyed, and they won't bear fruit. It's scary, right? We want to pick the right side. We want to be doing the right things. And Eliphaz in verse 34 seems to be implying that Job's suffering is due to some godlessness or sin, And that is why he is experiencing this judgment as he describes that wicked people lack having a legacy and they experience destruction, which is true, but I don't know if he's aiming it at the right person. I don't know that he's really understanding Job. Verse 35 was saying wicked people plan and execute evil, and they will ultimately suffer the consequences of their own actions, which is very true. We all see that in our own daily life. So right now I'm feeling like Eliphaz is again doing what we talked about previously, was he's throwing out cliches in a way. He's making statements that are true, but he's not really making statements that relate to who Job is and what he has going on. Okay, let's pick back up in chapter 16. Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. Shall windy words have an end? Oh, what provokes you that you answer? I also could speak as you, if you were in my place. I could join words together against you and shake my head at you. I could strengthen you with my mouth, and the solace of my lips would assuage your pain. Know if I'm saying that right, assuage, Assuage, but I looked it up and it means lessen or relieve the intensity of a physical or emotional pain. Verse 6, if I speak, my pain is not assuaged, and if I bear, how much of it leaves me? Surely now God has worn me out. He has made desolate all of my company, and he has shriveled me up, which is a witness against me. And my leanness has risen up against me. It testifies to my face. He has torn me in his wrath and hated me. He has gnashed his teeth at me. My adversary sharpens his eyes against me. Men have gaped at me with their mouth. They have struck me insolently on the cheek. They mass themselves together against me. God gives me up to the ungodly and casts me into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, and he broke me apart. He seized me by the neck and dashed me to pieces. He set me up as his target. His archers surround me. He slashes open my kidneys and does not spare. He pours out my gall on the ground. He breaks me with breach upon breach. He runs upon me like a warrior. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin and have laid my strength in the dust. My face is red with weeping, and on my eyelids is deep darkness. Although there is no evidence in my hand, and my prayer is pure. O earth, cover not my blood, and let my cry find no resting place. Even now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and he who testifies for me is on high. My friends scorn me. My eye pours out tears to God, that he would argue the case of a man with God, as a son of man does with his neighbor. For when a few years have come, I shall go the way from which I shall not return. Chapter 17, Job continues. My spirit is broken. My days are extinct. The graveyard is ready for me. Surely there are mockers about me, and my eye dwells on their provocation. And I looked at provocation, and it's an action or speech that makes someone annoyed or angry, especially when it's deliberate. Picking back up verse 3, lay down a pledge for me with you. Who is there who will put up security for me? Since you have closed their hearts to understanding, therefore you will not let them triumph. He who informs against his friends to get a share of their property, the eyes of his children will fail. He has made me a byword of the people, and I am one before whom men spit. My eye has grown dim from vexation, and all my members are like shadow. Vexation would be from being annoyed, from being frustrated, or from being worried. His eye has grown dim. Picking back up verse 8, the upright are appalled at this, and the innocent stirs himself up against the godless. Yet the righteous holds to his way, and he who has clean hands grows stronger and stronger. But you, come on again, all of you, and I shall not find a wise man among you. My days are past. My plans are broken off. The desires of my heart, they make night into day. The light, they say, is near to the darkness. If I hope for Sheol as my house, if I make my bed in darkness, if I say to the pit, you are my father, and to the worm, my mother or my sister, where then is my hope? Who will see my hope? Will it go down to the bars of Sheol? Shall we descend together into the dust? And that concludes our reading for the day, the end of chapter 17. So, to me, for today, what I've gotten from it today, and I'd be interested in hearing what you got from it. And anybody that needs to speak with me, needs to have prayer, anything at all, you can reach out to me at messageofhope1@gmail.com. What I got from today is that Job is losing hope. We have to remember he's lost his wealth, his health, his possession, his children that he prayed over. And he has these boils. He's just a broken man. His wife told him to curse God and die. And his friends who have come out to help, they're just throwing cliches at him. They're saying things that are true, but they're not things that are connecting to really help Job. And to me, in reading this, it's really just bringing out in my mind how, as a believer, as a Christian, as someone who wants to help somebody else find their way to God, we have to be oh so careful and stop and take a moment. What do they need me to say? What do I need to be doing? Maybe I should be silent. We need to be taking these things before God, not being so quick to judge people and assume we know what it is they need to hear. And I wanted to read Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11, because Job had brought up, if a man dies, will he live again? Or does death terminate all his existence? And that's when I referred you to podcast episode 43. Will I go to heaven when I die? But it caused me to go to this Ephesians. I found this very interesting. Ephesians 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end." What I got from that is that the desire to live for eternity was placed inside us by God. Now, I know that's kind of a part of what we read in Job, but it's kind of a step aside and a different lesson in a way, too. But I didn't want to miss being able to interject something that popped out at me that you may want to go and look further at. Find it very interesting The desire for us to live for eternity is placed inside us by God. He wants us to embrace that desire to live for eternity, to find Him, to live for eternity, and to be with Him. I just find that's a very beautiful thing that we were created. In my mind, a way to put it would be sort of a hole in us, that if that hole isn't filled with God, then you're not going to have that desire to live for eternity. But He placed that hole inside us so that He could be there and give us that desire and help guide and direct our life and be our shining light, our guide, our everything. That's all I've really got to share for today. I thank you all so much for listening in. I ask that if you like it at all, please go listen to other episodes. Please download them, share them with friends on all of your social media. Invite your friends and relatives to listen. I know I'm not one of these hopping, popping podcasts that, brings a lot of people in. But if somebody just wants to hear the word of God and stop and ponder some things, or maybe hear a different perspective than they've had before, not so that you can take on believing everything the way I do or thinking the way I do, but rather that you might consider a perspective that you've not previously had. And it might help to grow you in your faith, or it might help you to stop doing something you're doing in your faith. Because after being intrigued by listening about it, you went investigated and solidified more what you want your walk in this life to be, so that you can be with our Father for eternity. I hope you all have a blessed day. I pray the Lord blesses you, that He keeps you, that He causes His face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. I pray that His countenance is lifted upon you and gives you peace. Until next time, shalom.